All right, we're live.
How's the Randall jumping in?
Pretty soon. I mean, I gave him all the links.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he should be good.
All right.
Am I here?
You seem here, yeah.
All right, visual's good and all that. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay.
And this time I have the audio just running in the background. So the music's going. And then let the intro kind of run a few times. All right. Oh, in the office. Look at this guy, dedicated.
Hey, what's going on?
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Things are going well. It's really hot over here. From my understanding, you guys ended up getting some snow.
Some places, yeah. I had a little bit on my car the other day, but thankfully not a lot. It was cold. It's still cold.
Cool. So what'd you end up, how was your weekend?
I don't know. I know I slept Sunday. Saturday I was here doing some takeout, playing cards. It was quiet.
Got a lot of
Did
people.
you guys do regular take? What'd you guys do? You did regular takeout, what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Just Friday and Saturday right now. So Friday we're doing
Gotcha.
4 to 7. Saturday is noon to about like 6.
How was it? You get some people or
Yeah, Friday was really good. Saturday, it's been like actually consistent. It's like the same number week in, week out so far.
yeah.
But we're adding some things this week. We're gonna change it up, so hopefully we'll get a little bit more people in.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
You said it's a shitload of regulars. I'm assuming that it was probably like a lot of the same repeat people too. Like,
Yeah,
oh, you're back open like Friday night.
That's part of what we're doing. We're trying to make sure our regulars, the people that would normally come, are kind of still like, know that we're here for them, and we want them to come back. We don't want anyone to forget about us.
Sure. So
Nice.
that's a really good segue, Randall. Since you're going to be cooking today and you're out there live at the restaurant, why don't you briefly go over what you're going to be making today for the people out there, so that they know what you got planned for the cooking session.
Sure, we're gonna make some vegetable ratatouille, which is a southern French, really rustic vegetable stew. Ratatouille basically means to just stir in. So you're basically just stirring in vegetables. Some ingredients are more key than others. Typically, you'll have zucchini, squash, tomatoes, fennel. Eggplant is one. We're not using eggplant today, but it's optional. Onions, garlic, peppers, and then kind of like you can kind of add vegetables in as you go if you want. It's one of those recipes where you can kind of just do your own thing if you'd like.
Now, is it particularly difficult to make, or is it something that someone can kind of just pick up and
actually,
go?
It's pretty easy. Honestly, just cutting your vegetables and having your mise en place ready is probably the most work. Once you get everything cut, you get your pan hot. I mean, it's very few steps, and then you basically just let it simmer until it's ready. And it's great because you can eat it on your own. On its own, you can eat it. It's delicious. It warms you up. I mean, it's vegetarian. It's actually vegan. It's also a great side. All you need to do is like add a protein to it. Typically, we serve it with striped bass in the summer. So we'll do ratatouille in a bowl, then we'll do a piece of grilled striped bass on top with a little olive oil. That's it.
Nice.
Nice. Now, is striped bass native to the South Coast over there? Kind of New Bedford, Westport, South Coast area.
Yeah, it definitely runs North Atlantic a lot in the summer. Actually, probably they should be coming in anytime, to be honest. They'll come in late spring, early summer, and then stick around till probably late summer into probably up to like October, I'd say.
Nice. My understanding that those
Yeah.
are pretty big fish too.
They can get pretty big, yeah. They'll get up there. You know, they can get up to about, I mean, you know, good size is 40 plus pounds. You can get them up to 50s, maybe low 60s, I'm sure. I mean, that'd be pretty rare.
Cool, cool. So one of the things that I wanted to point out again, I mean, so you're out there at the Back Eddy Restaurant. Could you kind of give people an idea of where you're at right now? Where's the restaurant, and why you're there on a Monday? Today it's closed, right?
Yeah, it's closed. I'm here for the YouTube, you know. Get in here.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's a great place here. It's a good place to spend time, even when you're not working. I mean, that's kind of half the battle of us doing takeout is just kind of like keep some of us guys from going stir crazy too.
Sure.
But actually, maybe let's see. Maybe I can give you guys a little view from the dining room. Just bear with me for a second.
Oh, cool. This is awesome. I like this little behind the scenes, real deal. This is what it looks like.
Here's some of the dining room. There you go.
And how much seating do you have?
With outdoor, indoor, I think we're at like over 200, less than 250.
Wow, 200.
Actually, let me go this way. There's a little bit of glare over there. Let's see if we can get enough. Oh no, it's gonna be very glary, but
No, looks good. Looks good.
all right. I mean, basically, anywhere as you sit in this place, you know, you're gonna get an ocean, you know, the harbor view.
Yeah, you guys are right there.
Yeah,
I've actually tested it out one day. Almost every seat in this restaurant, you can get a view of the water.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then, see.
For as many times as we've been down there, I've actually never gone. I've never eaten at the Back Eddy.
Yeah. So then this is the other dining room that's past the bar. So then we come around. Here's the bar. Da 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 da. Got some more seating, more seating, more seating, more water view.
Place is
Pretty
big.
good fun.
Yeah,
What's
it's
that?
pretty good size.
Yeah.
So pretty big, pretty good size. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the summer when you're just like, where are all these people coming from, you know?
Yeah, it's fucking packed.
So here's that's the dish pit back here. Nothing too special, pretty run of the mill stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't really put everything 100% back together yet, you know?
Sure. Considering
Oh,
like
yeah.
the capacity and the quarantine going down, it's a little bit difficult to be able to.
So this is
to
our
do that
live fire grill, which is pretty sweet. It's all burns just charcoal and hardwood. So anything that comes off the grill comes off this bad boy. Loaded up in the front here with coals. Good.
All right.
Cool.
Got the fryers behind there. Let's see. Saute station where we'll be working today. It's actually 12 burners there. Ovens. We got our hot cold app station. Steamer. And then down the line here is just all prep space. There's a walk-in at the back there. I don't think you can see. We got a backyard with our trailers. There's an outside walk-in.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the restaurant in a nutshell.
Nice. No, I appreciate the tour. I mean, that's really cool just to be able to kind of see the front side and then the back side where kind of all the magic happens. So I mean,
Right,
like,
I'll show you what our view. So when we're in the kitchen, this is what this is what we see. This is our view.
mm,
So
okay,
we actually this is where the magic happens. This is our expo printer. So
okay,
whoever's doing expo, this is their spot. So we actually got a pretty good view of the dining room from here. That's who we get to look out to.
nice. I mean, just the view alone is definitely worth just going over there for, you know. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the last time I was there was actually with you and Amber, and one of the
Oh yeah,
things,
that's right.
yeah, one of the things that I ordered was actually scallops because it's one of those things that it's very easy to mess up. Like, I guess it's an easy dish to make, but it's also very easy to mess up just because of um, it's easy to burn or easy to overcook, I guess. So
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, our fried food's pretty killer here.
So yeah, it's great that you're at the helm. You know, showing obviously you've held a lot of different positions there at the restaurant, and then now as a sous chef, um, sounds like you have quite a bit of responsibility as far as when you're in the kitchen. Even some of the odd days, you're generally involved. I'm presuming.
Oh yeah. Sous chef is basically being glue, man. You just keep it all together for everybody.
Mm. All right, so Randall, I think this is probably a good time to talk about what kind of tools that you use for.
Yeah. So I'll start with the pan actually. Oh, one second. Phone was ringing there. Let me change this view. All right, so gotta get used to this here. Actually, let me do. This is gonna be one of the views. So right here we have a rondo pan. It's a small rondo. Usually we make a batch in a rondo that's probably at least twice as big, a little about 2.5 times bigger than this.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, any kind of like saute pan that has, a top, a nice wall to it. Something that's a little higher on the sides. You can use a Dutch oven if you want. Let's see. Actually, for first episode or our test episode where Cruz did the ribeye,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pan that he used at home is probably one of the best at home pans to do this in.
So I have my Dutch oven. I would probably use a Dutch oven if I was doing this on the stove top for me.
Yeah. And what's cool is you can finish this on the stove, or if you want, once you get everything together, you can pop it in the oven and just let it finish in the oven, which is pretty nice too.
Yeah, let it simmer for a little while there.
Yeah. Wooden spoon, pretty standard. You can use a metal spoon or anything like that.
Huh.
Let's see what else we got.
Whoa. What's that? What was that
What's
sound?
that?
What was that sound?
Oh, that was just a spoon on the range. So I'll come back over here. For equipment, I mean, essentially that's really what you need for equipment. Other than that, it's just the vegetables, the tomatoes, cooking oil, salt, pepper, some dry herbs, fresh herbs if you want to use them. So I'll just kind of go over some of the vegetables here. I'm just going to do this here. All right. So in here we got some onions and some fennel. So mostly you can use white onions. You see some right in here. I had some half cut onions. I'm just gonna put them in there, so I don't waste anything. That's what's cool about this recipe. You can kind of just, use some of the stuff you have left over in the fridge. Onion, fennel. So I'd say out of any of the ingredients, one that would be the hardest to find would be some fresh fennel. So when you get to the store, it comes with the green tops here, the stems and the fronds. Usually just chop this piece right off. Usually want to find stuff that has nice greens. This is from one of our orders a week or two ago, so the greens are a little wilted out, but the fennel bulb's still great. And if the fronds, the greens here, they're nice and fresh, you can actually chop these up and put it right in there as a fresh herb. They actually have a pretty nice flavor. But we're gonna save these for a stock later in the week. And then over here we have zucchini. Oh, sorry, yellow squash, some zucchini, some red pepper. So these are our essential ingredients. Actually, we have some rough chopped cloves of garlic. And again, what's cool about this is just, rough chop, nothing pretty, very rustic recipe. So you don't have to be fussy about cutting anything. Real quick though, I'll show you cutting. What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna show you how I break down some of these vegetables real quick.
Now, could you, move the camera a little bit?
Yeah, I got you. Here we go. All right, so we got a half onion peeled here.
Could you just turn it just a little bit more towards? There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
So chef knife, and use whatever you got for a sharp knife, really. But you can use a paring knife if you want a steak. I mean, I use a steak knife at home, cut my vegetables because I have such a small cutting space. So we're just gonna do
when at the end of the day, really, it doesn't matter. Everybody wants to have, the fanciest tools and this and that, but like, you just got to cut it. You just need a knife and really.
Yeah, as long as you have that one good sharp knife. So we got the onion, got the circular pattern this way. We're gonna put it in front of us. We're just gonna go into it. See how I'm cutting it. I think you can pick this up. Just going down the.
Yeah, you're leaving it pretty big chunks, and I'm assuming you're doing that because you're going to be stewing this for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to kind of cook together, and you want to make sure that there's still some bite to some of the vegetables. You don't want them to get all mushy and overcooked, and there's no texture left.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go. We're going to cut right across from what we just did. Now you can see we got some nice, just really rustic chunks here. Nothing too special. And then you got this guy. And then I'll just put it down. Just rough chop that some more. Put this in our pile.
Now, how many for that rondo dish? How many vegetables of each do you have?
Actually, so with this batch right here, I have about 6 to 7 squash, 6 to 7 zucchini. I believe I have 3 onions, and we have pretty large onions here, as you saw. Doing 3 bulbs of fennel, 4 red peppers. As you can see, that's probably one good handful of whole peeled garlic.
Yeah.
I would say for at home, you'd probably take this recipe. Do 3 to 4 zucchini, 3 to 4 squash, 1 large red onion. Just 1 bulb of fennel would be good. Maybe 2 red peppers, and a small handful of garlic. So the fennel actually is kind of shaped pretty close to an onion. So we're going to treat it kind of the same way. So I'm going to cut it in half to start. And I'm going to hold it the same way as an onion. Make some cuts like that. And then go across the other way. Some rough chunks. Get a little bit out of that stem.
Now, as far as cutting in half, talk a little bit about some of the cutting techniques there. Like, why do you cut it in half? And I know that there's some rough cuts there, but talk a little bit about how when you cut certain vegetables or fruits, why certain cuts are important for certain dishes.
I mean, honestly, to start, it's how the shape, final size you're going to get out of it, the way the vegetable or fruit is designed, how it's going to break down. Like as an onion is layers, you know, you cut it so that you come out with some nice square pieces, you know. And that's really, I mean, you know, it really depends on application, to be honest. If you need something big, small, long, short, um, everything's a little different. It gets pretty intuitive. But I mean, one saying is, you know, you can cut an onion like 100 different ways, you know.
Yeah, for this one, I mean, you're going to be stewing it down. You're trying to look for a decent consistency size across all the vegetables. So you're just
Yeah,
going to be you're going for like a more square, just rough chop across all of them.
yeah, that's what's cool about this recipe. It's not fussy.
Yeah, so like your zucchini, like you would never like cut your zucchini into long, skinny strips because you're stewing it down. There's not a lot of thickness to it. So while it's
Yeah.
still a big piece,
So
it's
here we
not
got,
going to be
yeah,
it's not going to be thick if you cut it long and skinny. It's still going to stew down to nothing. So you need to
yeah.
leave it like with nice square shape.
And then with the zucchini and the squash, you know, I could do a large dice, but we actually kind of cut it kind of nice. So I'm just gonna cut the stem off here. I cut the back end there. And since it's kind of got this, you know, this shape where it goes from big to a neck to small, you know, literally what we'll do, we'll just make small coins to start, so we get to the bigger part. So then we have these nice rounds here, which are actually not too big. They're the right size, and you know, it's another, you know, fuss-free cut. You know. So then when we get to this big bulb part, just cut it down the long way, bring it back up. Now we're gonna basically do half moons. You know, we're still keeping it a little, you know, some thickness there. And, you know, a lot of cutting vegetables and preparing stuff, you're kind of looking for the fastest way with getting the same result. So now we have some nice half moons here. They're pretty thick, you know.
Right.
Do the zucchini next. I mean, the zucchini, sometimes they have that smaller neck. This one's actually pretty consistent size, so I'll just go right down the middle here. If you want to cut squares, you know, that's fine. Like you could just cut it again here. You know, then we have chunks. But you know what I mean? Like I can get the same thing I want out of doing the half moon. So I'm actually saving a step cutting it that way. So that's kind of like half the battle in the restaurants. You know, you're looking, you know, really about efficiency. All right, so the pepper. Start with it standing up. I'm going to cut right down on the side of the stem here. Like a nice piece just like this. And then rotate it. And then now you got just one leg there. I'll turn on side. So basically I just cut all the sides off. Basically almost, you know, I have all these pieces, all this flesh without any seeds. I got a little here I'll get rid of. And then you got this nice sweet part right here. All I'm going to do, so the top end with the seeds is all set. See you later. I'm going to cut this pith off a little bit here. Now, that bottom is actually useful. It's a nice piece of flesh here. So the peppers, you know, really just making some more rustic cuts here. Go here, literally just cutting it once down the long way. Cross that.
Now, what brand knife are you using right now?
This is actually a Dalstrong, Dalstrong. It's a, I think they're manufactured, they might be manufactured in Korea or China, but they use German steel. So it's kind of a nice value. So it's basically they export the metal to factories in China or Korea or Taiwan or something, and then they manufacture them there.
Mm.
But it's nice. It's a high carbon knife, so it's pretty similar to a high speed steel. Keeps a good edge. This shape is actually, I can't remember the name, but it's actually Japanese style. That's pretty. I believe it's for cutting vegetables. So it's actually a vegetable cutting knife,
Mm.
which is pretty sweet. The garlic already chopped up. I mean, it's nothing special. Literally, just I took a knife to it for about 10 seconds. I don't know how well you can see it, but I mean, we're just looking at, there's still a couple holes
You
in
actually
there.
chop those cloves? Yeah, you're barely like maybe cutting a clove in half or so.
The same thing, these are going to stew down too, So
Yeah.
actually, it's nice to get a little, and the flavors aren't going to be so strong if you bite into one of these pieces of garlic.
Oh no, that's super tasty. Having like some stewed garlic and just biting into that, so good.
And then other things we have going on here. So I got some dry herbs. You can use fresh herbs too, but we always have a lot of dry herbs here. One thing I was thinking about, if you're cooking this at home, sometimes you find you have a pantry full of dry herbs and spices you barely use. And everyone seems to have a jar or something of, Italian herb mix. This would be the perfect application for that, Italian herb mix you have in your pantry for a year. So what we have here, this is some dry thyme, some dry parsley, some dried oregano here. Again, you can use fresh if you want. And so I'm going to use other ingredients. Cooking oil, we use a blend oil, which is, yeah, we can see me now. It's a blend, 90% canola blend with 10% olive oil. So it's kind of, a lot of restaurants use that for cooking. So it's nothing special. We have here, this is called the 7440 tomato mix. I've never really seen this in the store. This is kind of more of a commercial product. What this is, I'll pop it open real quick. So this actually came in a large number 10 can, which is a number 10 can is a little less than a gallon. So pretty sure I'm going to need a half gallon for this size batch we're doing. I would say at home, you might need one or two of the, if you go to the grocery store, their cans, I believe they're 28 ounces. It's a little bit bigger cans of, stewed tomatoes or whole tomatoes and sauce. Personally, I like to use San Marzanos. Usually you can find those in the store. They cost about maybe an extra 30 cents a can, but it's worth it. So this is a blend. I don't want to make too much of a mess here. But as you can see, it's just all chunked up. This is actually, it's pretty much made for making stews or rough tomato sauces here. And if you use something that's a whole tomato, once you get it in the pan, just take your spoon and kind of crush the tomatoes so they're chunky. A fresh glove on here. All right. So in a second, I'm going to move the camera to our stovetop.
I feel like you rehearsed a little bit with the whole camera work and stuff like that.
What's that?
I feel like you rehearsed a little bit with the whole camera work stuff.
Oh, I definitely did. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, now the laptop is on. Yeah, I'll show you that's the laptop sitting on here. All right, so get this going here. All right. So I have my hand. The pan's been on low just to keep it warm while I was doing everything else. It's actually pretty hot. So I'm gonna probably turn it up just a little bit here. Let's say we're at medium, and you're not trying to get any color on the vegetables. We're gonna start by sweating the onions and the fennel. So sweating it, we're just trying to cook them. We're not trying to caramelize any of the sugars. We're just cooking them through till the onions are translucent. Got a speed pour our blend oil here.
Now, do you guys blend the oil there, or do you guys purchase it already pre-blended?
Yeah, we buy it. This is from Cisco. So yeah, vegetable oil and olive oil. So we're gonna do all of our onion. So this is the onions and the fennel. I'm actually gonna pull a little of the onions out of here. I'm gonna cut a little too many.
What are you doing? Why are you removing the onions?
I don't know. I don't think all those chopped veggies are going to fit in that pan.
Yeah, I've actually haven't. Usually do this in a lot bigger pan, so I kind of have to guess.
Yeah, you were just guessing. Usually doing that in a way bigger pan, right?
Don't mind me if I can't hear you right now. It's got some noise in this pan.
Could you tilt the laptop? Could you tilt the laptop just a little bit down, just to get a little bit more?
Don't do it, Randall. He's setting you up.
I didn't hear what you said.
Could
you want you to tilt the laptop down, but I don't trust him.
Oh, like tilt it down?
Yeah,
like to show the pot a little bit.
Yeah, the whole pot's right there.
No, the way the screen is like cropped, you can't see like some of the pot. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Oh, before I forget too, Randall, I mean, I'd like to be able to thank the owner there for letting us do the video, on location, which I think is really cool to be able to, I think, give people a little of a background view of like what goes on in there, especially since it's an off day. It's good to show some of the stuff that you guys make, and what kind of the tools and things that you guys use as far as when you guys make food.
Was anybody in there today? You guys doing ordering or anything today at all?
No, it's just me in here right now.
You're just chilling? Nice.
Yep. Sal was in here earlier doing office work, but right now, actually the chef was in here this morning putting together the menu for this week.
Sure.
Yeah. So everyone else is done with their stuff today.
So a handful of people show up on a Monday.
Yeah, most of the time there would have been no one though.
In regular season, you guys open on Monday? Are you guys open 7 days during when it's regular, normal life?
So, in the beginning, we're open 5 days a week, just for dinner. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday we're open for lunch and dinner, and then when summer hits, and then when summer hits, we go 7 days, Monday through Friday, dinner only. Saturday, Sunday, lunch and dinner. And then after Columbus Day, we go back down to 5. And then we actually go down to 4 days towards the end. But we also do, and then on Sundays, we do a brunch, which is pretty nice. Right. So, nice. Our hours kind of ramp up and ramp down as the season comes and goes. And, obviously a lot of tourists here in the summer. So there's always a lot more people in the summer. Then as those people go back home, it's mostly just locals and some other nearby people.
Yeah, but then they shut down for the whole winter, right?
Yep. Our last day is January 1st. We do a polar plunge and a buffet, which is kind of sweet. And then we shut down till our original open date was, March 20th. So we would have been open on March 20th, which is like one day after everything got shut down by the state.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So literally before that weekend, we were actually that Monday. Actually, hold on. I'm trying to remember. It seems like a million years ago. But the Monday after the governor shut it down is when we were supposed to come together and put all our big orders in, get in all our seafood, stuff like that. So it kind of worked out where we didn't have to order all of our perishables that we usually would.
Well, yeah, they're starting to talk about when they're going to start opening stuff back up a little bit, which is good.
Yeah, it looks like we're kind of from what we're gathering, June 8th is really the first week we can look at to see. I mean, if you read the phase system, you know, it's starting now, 2 weeks from now, depending on all the numbers and in the curve, you know.
Yeah. I saw that. That was a few days ago. It was over the weekend, like Saturday, that
Yeah,
the president had the press conference about doing the things in phases, and Fauci was describing, like, you know, if you get past the first step, then you get into phase one, and then so on and so forth. And there's a handful of counties, and possibly states that can open up right away. So
yeah.
so that's
And
that.
for
I mean, it's
restaurants,
going to be weird. I mean, even the office or whatever, I'm sure they're going to be like, oh, you know, only so many people can be in, this and that and everything. And I mean, I
yeah,
get
for
it, but
restaurants, it's you know, you have to have your tables pretty much, you know, at a certain distance. Bars won't be able to open up till phase two. So even if you have a restaurant with a bar in it, you can't have people sit at the bar in the beginning.
Now, how many people work at the Back Eddy, Randall?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, in the kitchen, you know, beginning of the season, we'll have 4, 5, 6, maybe. You know, the beginning of the season, we need less than 10 people. I'd say 8 people.
Mm.
You know, once it's summertime, we staff up. We'll probably have well, actually, we don't have that many people in the kitchen as you think. Come summertime, we'll probably do in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, 10. If we're doing outside, another 2. I mean, at the most, we usually probably have 12 people in the kitchen at once in the summer.
Mm.
And servers, I mean, that's we have, you know, probably almost up to I mean, front of house staff on a summer day, we probably have over 20, including servers, hosts, bussers, bartenders, and management. And what's nice here is we do staff meal for everybody before service, which is pretty neat.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, we can do that because we're only open on dinner on the week. So before we open for dinner, we always have food up for everybody.
Now, is that stuff on the menu, or is that stuff that you guys like come up with? I mean, how does that work?
Staff meal is basically like, you know, it's like leftover. We basically reheat leftovers like at home, you know. Or we whatever we're not using, we'll cook something out of it, you know, make whatever we can out of, you know. What's cool is so we're feeding our employees with it instead of throwing it out almost.
Mm.
We're, you know, sometimes they get the good stuff.
I mean, do you see a lot of restaurants kind of doing that thing, or is that just kind of, you know, unique?
Probably not as many as they used to be. I mean, that used to be a pretty traditional thing. Again, if you're a restaurant that's open lunch and dinner 7 days a week, it's kind of hard to sneak that in there, you know.
Not happening. It might be like a random bone. You know, if you're a restaurant, they might do like a random like Saturday. Oh, it's been busy. You know, here's something they made, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not every day. It's not an all the time thing. It's a random.
All right. Well, our onions and fennel are still sweating down a little bit here.
Now, what are you looking for? What are you looking for in the onions and the fennel?
Let me try to find one here for you. So, I don't know how well on.
You're gonna have to get really close to the camera if you can.
So what we're trying to do is to get the onion to see how the onion's kind of getting clear a little bit, a little translucent there. You can see my
Yeah,
my
you can actually see that really well. Yeah.
So yeah, sweating it down. You're just trying to get it translucent and soft. So we're about halfway on that. Kind of let it do its thing. So yeah, this is just kind of the just waiting to cook. You know, everything else is cut up.
So could you also tell people like what days and what times are you open right now as far as the hours?
For the takeout.
Yeah.
So for takeout, the hours you can show up to pick up, our pickup hours is Friday 4 to 7, and Saturday noon to about 6, or we sell out. I believe you can start placing orders on Wednesday around noon, and you know you can call in on Friday, you know, before we close. Call in Saturday too. Basically, you just give us your information. Your, usually take the card over the phone, pay over the phone. Description of the car, what time you want to pick it up, and that's it.
So are you guys running stuff out to them, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we're running it out so no one comes in the restaurant. So basically, we
Yeah.
have all our tickets ready, and then you know everything's ready by the time the customers show up, and then we just run it out to you. We ask you to, you know, open up your trunk or back seat, pop it in there, close the door, so you have a nice day.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, place not letting anything in. It's like, even though things are settling down a little, well, you know, sort of. It's like it's become, it's actually slowly feels like it's getting more and more restrictive than actually better.
I'll tell you what, it might start looking like what's going on in Ecuador. Quarantine until 2 and no cars. You can't drive on Saturday and Sunday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
real
go
quick,
fuck.
I'm gonna
They can
try
go
to-
fuck themselves if that's the thing. They can straight go fuck themselves. That's absolute bullshit. They can suck my dick. That's unfucking real.
Oh, it's
That's
so
fucking what for what? Can't fucking drive in my fucking car? Like, oh yeah, what am I gonna drive with my face out the window, licking the sidewalk, catching corona? Fuck that.
yeah, it's
I
well,
think I can fix this here.
it's the congregation of a lot of people in a lot of the places. You know what I mean? Like during the weekends, the grocery store is super busy. Like it's the worst time to go, but it's the now during the week, the grocery stores are super busy. So even if you go there like really early, it's still like huge lines and
Well, you said they're like super limiting the hours, aren't they?
yeah, the groceries only open till 12:30 from 7 to 12:30.
Yeah, so what's the surprise that it's gonna be wicked fucking packed? You just cut the hours down, but everybody still needs the same amount of food.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
how, how does that fucking add up?
dude, I have the part that confuses me with the whole thing, right? Is that no matter how you put it together, it's like people are going to congregate at the same places, but it's even more so now because the hours are limited. So
Yeah, like the
so
grocery store under normal hours when people were normal and needed food would still get busy on Saturday and Sunday because there's only so much time and so much space and people need food.
yeah.
So now you trim those hours down by a shitload. What do you think's gonna happen? Like now it's just gonna be packed all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, so real quick, guys, I just added our vegetables: squash, pepper, zucchini.
It looks very colorful.
I'm going to add the cooking wine. So this is sherry. This is what we have a lot of this. But you could use, I mean, because it's tomato sauce, you can use some dry red wine. I mean, you could even use some white wine. Yeah, maybe something that's a little more dry than sweet. So this is about 1 cup of sherry. At home, you're probably looking at like a quarter cup.
That looks very colorful.
Yeah, it's nice it's really appealing in many ways. So let that cook, and we'll start seasoning it a little bit as well.
Now, why don't you season it early on? Why do you wait until later?
I could season the fennel and onions first if I wanted to. Usually you can kind of season as you add stuff to the pan.
Mm.
But now that we have all the vegetables in there, we can start seasoning it. Real quick, I'm going to add the garlic. Get those guys in there.
So I'm gonna say I was surprised that you didn't do your garlic with the oil to start off early on.
Yeah, I didn't really want, you don't, at this point, you don't want the garlic to cook too hard and get any color on that,
Okay.
Mm.
It's one of the smallest cut things in there, so it's gonna cook and soften on its own pretty good. So I got my salt. It's a pretty big batch, so it's gonna look like I'm putting a good amount of salt in. That was probably like 2 tablespoons right there. Now I'm about to do 1 tablespoon of pepper. And then we're gonna adjust seasonings after we add the tomato, for sure. There we go, a little bit more there. Dry herbs we can add now if you'd like. So fresh thyme, fresh parsley, crushed dry, not fresh. Give them a little bit of stir here.
Yeah. So Ecuador, they're down to no cars on the weekends really now.
Yeah. So this is how it works with the traveling stuff. So there's no buses and there's taxis, but depending on, I guess, the number on the license plate depends on what day you can drive. So some people can only drive, like Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. So it's very limited. So dude, like the cab drivers, they drive hard and fast because they want to get their fares before the day's over. You take out like 60-70% of the week. There's a living right there. So they're going like $1.90 like all the time.
Flying.
Yeah. So it's weird. There's like there's these odd kind of adverse effects that happen, but you don't realize they happen until like the quarantine takes place, and you're like, oh, all right, they took out the use of taxis, so now, or they limited the use of taxis, so the cab drivers need to generate revenue, so they're going to try to get as many fares as they can in a short period of time that they have, and then some of them actually gouge on prices too. Not that they're particularly very expensive, but not what the normal prices are for stuff. So
yeah, they're gouging on prices for there.
Yeah, because they're like, hey, you know
not
what?
Like, not like what we would consider expensive for like a cab or anything, but yeah, a bunch they're still getting.
Yeah, like for here, you're like, oh wow, like the grocery store is in the same town that I'm in, and there's a few people that we've encountered that's like, oh, normally the price is between $1.50 to $2, which is it's literally like less than a 5-minute drive, but because we buy so many groceries, it'll last for a long time. It'll like we want to have a cab drive. So anyway, so the last few times that we took the cab to the groceries, like a few guys were like $4 or $5 when it should be $1.50, $2. So $2, I'm cool with, but it's one of those like they'll just pretty much charge anything. But at the same time, too, you can't blame them for you can't blame them that they need to do that because they're only working 2 to 3 days a week. So it's like,
yeah,
they got to put the pedal to the metal and make money somehow.
All right, so real quick, guys, now that the vegetables have been in here and they're starting to soften up a little bit, we're gonna add the tomatoes.
Yeah, that was actually fairly quick. You didn't leave it in there that long.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, once you get everything in there, I mean, you want to clarify the onions and the fennel to get some of the flavors of that out. Add your seasonings, your vegetables, so they start to soften a little bit. Because once you get the tomato and the liquid in there, you're actually going to let it simmer for some time, and that's when it's going to cook down the vegetables even more. So we're going to add our tomato. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill half the volume of tomato with water. You can also use stock. If you have chicken stock or vegetable stock, you can do that too.
So the main aim here is that you're making sure that this thing is going to be vegan, right? That's why you're adding just water.
Yeah, so half the volume of tomato and water, just so I have some liquid to cover everything. Since I haven't made it in this pan before, I might add some more tomato. We'll see in just a second. So let's see where we're at. Yeah, I'm gonna add probably a little bit more here.
Like I feel like you can apply this to any meal, and it'll just work well as a standalone or even just a side.
All right. So I switched it up. I did the whole can here.
So out of curiosity too, how did you guys come up with this recipe for the ratatouille?
I mean, this was a recipe that was here before I showed up. This restaurant's been around for over 20 years now. There's a lot of recipes that have been around for some time. But yeah, this with the striped bass has been on the menu for quite a few seasons, from what I gather.
Mm.
All right, so this is looking pretty good. So, I'll show you in a second here. So what you're looking for is after you add your tomato and liquid, is you can see that we have, it's just about submerged in liquid here. You can see some liquid right here on top of my spoon. You want to make sure that the vegetables are, just,
almost sort of barely covered.
yeah, it's kind of like if you're doing any braising technique with meat, you want to submerge it in liquid almost to the top.
Yeah, yep.
So now we're just gonna, give it a little stir here, get it all mixed up, and basically we can turn the heat up a little bit. I got it on almost high. So now we're just gonna sit and wait till it gets to a boil, a hard simmer, and once it comes up, we're gonna turn the heat down and let it simmer for some time. So I don't know if you guys can get it. Guys see that pretty good?
Yeah, no, it's a good shot.
Yeah.
Cool.
How long? So once you start simmering, are you timing? Or are you just going off of the kind of the softness of the vegetables?
I'd say once you get up to a boil, and then bring it down to a simmer, say in about 20 minutes, you're pretty close, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how much you cook the vegetables in the pan before you add liquid.
Yeah.
And then again, at this point, you could, at this point right here, or once you get up to a boil, you can toss it in the oven also. Put it in the oven at like 375, put it in there, check it in 20 minutes. What's nice about having it in the oven is the top will get nice and kind of almost crusty, and it'll thicken the sauce real nice. But even on the stove top, you still get the same good product. So
But no,
actually,
simmering in that no more than like 20, 30 minutes or so. Those things should all be pretty soft.
yeah, and you want it so there's a little bit of bite left in your vegetables too. Also,
I mean, if you make this at home, you're gonna have this for more than one day. Like,
yeah,
so when you go to reheat it and stuff, day 2 or day 3 or whatever, like you don't want to already have them cooked down to nothing, and then you go and heat them and they like fall apart on you.
yeah, and it does reheat pretty well. Obviously, before you pack it away in the fridge, let it cool down, and then stow it away. You can get easy 5 days out of this in the fridge, no problem.
Yeah.
One thing with reheating it, once you get it, so reheating it, you just put it in a pan. You want to add just, if you don't have a lot of liquid left in it, add, a couple of tablespoons of water just to get a little wet so you don't burn the bottom when you heat it up on the stove top.
Now,
And
how?
then, what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, now that I add the tomatoes, I'm going to season it a little bit more. Kind of like we were talking, you can season as you put things in the pan. Especially when you add tomatoes and there's, some more water content in here, it needs some more seasoning. So I'll do pretty much the same, good pinch of salt here. About half that in black pepper. And what's cool about this being it's not fussy. It's you don't have to. It's not like you're trying to bake anything and you have to be totally exact. You got a little bit more zucchini than squash, doesn't matter. You only got one red pepper, fine. You want to put extra pepper in it, no problem. Another thing that's kind of nice in this, if you like a little spice, put a pinch of crushed red pepper in there. It's really nice. But that's if you want a little extra kick in there. And remember, crushed red pepper a little goes a long way, believe it or not. Even though it's not the spiciest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's one of the different things here in Ecuador. They don't use a lot of spice in the regards of like something that's hot or picante. So that was one of the interesting things. Like whenever I'm cooking here, right? Like I'm always making stuff with salt and pepper, right? And then Sophia's like, oh, why are you putting so much pepper? It's like just a little bit for flavor, But they're not too keen on spicy stuff out here in Ecuador, which is very different. Like I said, like using peppers is a different thing. Another thing here too is that they don't really use forks. They only use forks when it's like absolutely necessary. Most of the time, it's a spoon. Not that you guys really need to know that, but it's kind of a interesting thing.
What are they using? A spoon?
Yeah, like more likely than not, like when food is served, it's never served with a fork and a spoon. It's just served with a spoon, which for me is like kind of difficult because like a spoon does one thing, a fork does another thing, whereas here it's like oh, the spoon does everything. So it's kind of a weird like mental. It's not like not that bad of a thing. It's just I have to retrain my mind. Like, oh, okay. If I have a plate of rice, vegetables, and a meat, and I'm typically eating it with a spoon and a fork, and all I have is a spoon, it's like, oh, what happened? What happened to the fork?
Yeah.
So bloody hot.
All right, so yeah, that's just gonna kind of do its thing for a little bit. And we're actually almost at 7 o'clock here. So honestly, this is gonna cook for another 15 minutes probably before it's ready, I'd say. But if you can see, we're at definitely see we got a simmer here.
Yeah, could you do a quick shot of the fire, see what it looks like? It's on high right now, right?
What did you want a shot of?
The fire.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. I'll give you a shot. Hold on here.
I'll tell you
Show
what.
the goddamn fire. Come on.
Yeah. Fire!
The fire is on high.
So I'll show you what high. Let's see. Oh, that's low. So that's full on. I was just under. I was probably like right there. So that's like a medium high. There's low. There's high. There's up.
Oh, DJ in the oven.
So my question is, what do you
boil? So I'm gonna turn it down a little here.
What are you doing with all this? Are you serving this week, or are you taking that home?
Actually, no. We've had ratatouille on every week as a vegetable side dish that you can order.
As a side, yeah.
First week we served it with salmon, I believe. But
all right.
It's a really good side, and it just goes well with everything. And especially with this cold weather we're still having here in New England, it just hits the spot.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There was snow over the weekend. And it's April, mid-April. and it's still snowy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So right now, so before we go ahead and walk away, while this, I mean, you can literally once you bring it, turn the heat down, simmer, go do something. But before you do that, you want to taste it. Make sure the salt, pepper, seasonings are good. That's pretty good. I can taste the herbs. I can taste the vegetables. I'm actually gonna add a little salt. Take a little bit more seasoning. You want to definitely make sure you're tasting some herbs in there. The one funny thing we always crack up about making this here is if anybody's ever had Papagenos in their neighborhood, the fresher, the dry oregano they always have on the table, you put on your pizza. When it mixes with the tomato sauce, is like that kind of sensation you're getting out of here.
Sure. Yeah.
So we always, it's kind of a funny thing in the restaurants. You're always cracking up about when you find these flavors that are like, oh shit, that's from da 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 da, or like oh, that's special sauce from McDonald's, or tastes like Papagenos.
Yep. Just cheese pizza with a little bit of oregano and garlic on it is fucking wicked good.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Actually, I'm getting kind of hungry.
Yeah, I got to figure out what I'm getting. I skipped out on going. I didn't feel like dealing with potentially having to wait in line to get into the grocery store yesterday on Sunday. So I was like, fuck that. I'm not going today. So I was supposed to go to this morning, and I totally overslept. And by the time I got up, I was like, ah, shit, I got to start working. So I have nothing. Like I have like pasta and rice and beans and stuff, but I don't have anything like my normal weekly shit at all right now. So I don't know, might be a takeout night or something. We'll see.
Oh man.
Yeah, I actually went to Market Basket last week, and I drove by first to check it out, and the line wasn't too bad. So I actually only had to wait about 10 minutes to get in, and actually it wasn't too bad. I actually didn't mind that, because once you got in there, it wasn't crazy. It wasn't as many people on top of you.
It's honestly, I mean, it's probably overall about the same time. Unless it's like that line outside is like absurd, then it would be longer. But if the line's a little while, it's about the same time you would have spent in there anyways.
Yeah.
Whether the extra time was like waiting at the checkout at the register or anything, it's just you're outside 6 feet apart, waiting. That's it.
Do they check the temperature and like have people wipe their feet on like sanitizer or anything like that?
Nah, you can't check somebody's temperature here.
Oh, you can't.
Hell no. That's a HIPAA violation. You can't check my temperature.
They're doing.
Well, I think. I know some companies that put them in. I think Amazon started putting them in their workplaces.
So your employer, it's borderline. It's borderline on how your employer can execute it. There's no way in hell the grocery store can fucking do that.
Oh, well, they definitely do it here. You can't go into the grocery store.
No, that's super against privacy. You can't. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
You know what's kind of weird? I had this discussion with the whole HIPAA thing with somebody, and it's kind of like it's a really tough thing. It becomes more of an ethical issue versus like oh, what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? It really comes down to, again, it's just very strange because like they implemented a lot of things here that's just starting to appear in the US. So it's kind of interesting. But like, yeah, you can't go into the grocery store without getting your temperature checked. And
for real,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
That's
crazy. What's crazy is that supposedly the situation here is way worse. And if you just go by the numbers, it's like 10% of the population have passed away. So, but like it's a little bit different. I feel like in the U.S. people are more into the like, hey, we're all gonna stay at home and ride this out when it's done. It sucks, but ride it out. Whereas here, I feel like, oh, there's people out there all
they
hanging out.
are for right now, but it's coming to so like most part, I feel like everybody's generally on board. I am, and everything, but it's coming to like, okay, that was fine for a little while, but all right, let's reassess this.
Yeah.
Like you just can't keep going like that. So,
Yeah, it's kind of wild
Yeah,
reading
they'll
about
have-
all the protesters protesting about reopening the economy, but it's like well, if you're protesting, you're actually you're not practicing social distancing, are you?
no.
Like,
I mean, a protest.
It's like a hard read. Like it's like both sides. It's like I don't know. It really doesn't make sense. It's really you just gotta wait. Just gotta wait.
Yeah, to me, it's
What, to reopen?
To me,
Yeah.
it's so important to just consider that it's just the safer thing to do, as far as keeping everyone socially away from each other, to prevent the spread and things like that.
Oh, also,
Yeah, but I mean, what's the timeline? Because this is never going to go away. It's not going to like stop. So it's going to be spread. Like that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's without a doubt for sure. I don't think there's any way to avoid
You know
it.
what I mean? Like it's not, there's no way to avoid it. Like once we have to go back, and when we do go back, it's going to be spread. It's just going to happen. It just has to be understood that that's what's going to happen, and that's what has to happen, because you can't just shut down society. Like that just doesn't work. Like you can't. Eventually no mas money, and eventually that Ratatouille is like fucking gold right there.
Dude.
Like, I read an article a little while ago about some online bartering websites where people are bartering, a bottle of wine for vegetables or baby wipes or something. It's pretty wild stuff out there.
Yeah, another 3 months, like
3 months.
Unemployment's already skyrocketing. Like you can't. There's money doesn't magically come from places. Food doesn't magically come from places. Like it's not sustainable.
Hey, I got a quick question, a little kind of off topic-ish. Do you guys think that the market is priced in right now, or do you think it's going to find another bottom here?
I'll start with that one. I'll start with that one. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna find another bottom. Like I think, that there was the hopes of things gonna open up right away, and the phases, but I still think that the scope of how the situation is being viewed is not fully understood yet, because I just look at places like Ecuador. They don't have the order of magnitude of resources to be able to test people and stuff like that. So, and if you talk about the whole world, it's the same type of thing. There's not going to be this like, oh, okay, the U.S. has all this stuff. I mean, I'm part of an open source group for COVID responses and things like that. But as far as like, finding for the market, I mean, today, here's a crazy piece of news. Today, oil went down to negative $37 a barrel.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff, man.
Negative 37. So I made a joke with one of my buddies. I was like, oh, so if you go to the gas station, like, do you get money back when you buy gas?
You should.
What do you? I saw oil prices were dropping today, which obviously pulled the whole market down. What do you mean by negative 37? That doesn't add up in my brain due to the fact that they're not going to give oil away. What is this negative 37?
I don't know how they trade the commodities, but I know in the my understanding is like in the futures pricing that the price of the WTI West Texas Intermediate is down to negative $37. So apparently you can buy it without any money. That's actually what's going down. And I read an article right before I started setting everything up. Is that uh, China started buying a bunch of oil for nothing. So what's going on? What's going on is that people are stockpiling this stuff because the prices are so cheap. We're locking in their margin prices for the future. Whatever it is, which is good for companies, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help that no places are running right now. You know what I mean? There's limited travel, so it's like it's kind of this weird thing that's going on. I'm trying to make sense of it, but a good portion of the time too, I'm also ignoring it because I'm like, it's bad. Is there a piece of news out there that shows like some change in function? Because right now, for me, it looks like it's the hope. People are watching the news and they get the hopes are up, so the stock prices go up a little bit during the course of the week, and they spike up. But there's no telltale things that are indicating that the market's gonna go back up. You know what I mean? We were talking with the owner of the house here, and there are people that are already missing their payments on rent. So it's going to become like a cascading effect, kind of long term. Like certain industries are not going to experience stuff right away, but as time passes and people can't pay their bills individually and companies, which it's already been happening. Like for me, I received a little bit of relief from some of my suppliers. They're like, "Oh, you don't have to pay us this month for, for some of the bills," but the month has passed. A lot of places aren't open. They're not making any. No one's making any money. You know, so a lot of it, like everyone's feeling the pinch all across the board. So um, it's not as apparent for people, but I think it's gonna like what my father said before. He's expecting that the S&P is gonna go down to 1,500, and I'm like I'm I'm pretty sure that it could go that direction. Unless the market opens up. But I just don't see like people going out in the public and just doing their normal day to day stuff. I think people are going to be a little bit skittish about doing this and doing that. Um, but as far as like certain industries that are doing really well, right? Like I said, won't roughly get impacted right away, but like the Microsoft, the Google, the Facebook, like everybody's on these platforms. Zoom went up like 100% or whatever, because a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
people are
crazy.
using it. Um, so
So I mean, I understand that like people not gonna want to go out back out and everything. You know when people are gonna go back out? When they're fucking unemployed and their ass is on the line, all of a sudden their morals tend to change a little bit, and they start making different decisions when they're the ones that are having to cough up. You can always stand on your high ground when it's somebody else's high ground, that somebody else is dying on the hill and you're up on the high ground. When you're the one that's dying on the hill, people start making different decisions. Like they'll go back out to work, they'll go back out and go do stuff.
although it's well, right here, like I was saying before, right? Like, oh, there's a guy that uses quad to deliver food items and gas to people's houses just within like a small community, and he's booked all the time. So if it gets to something like that, people are going to look for ways to generate money, make food and whatnot. Like there's a few YouTubers that I follow that are out in another town, and they started like a public garden for food and stuff because it's a small area. A lot of stuff has to get shipped to this place, but there's literally only one road that goes to this one area. So
Yeah.
you know, um, so I think there's gonna well at least here there's I mean I'm making the water filter thing. they got the garden stuff. Sophia and I were talking about making our own little garden as well. So we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff as well. Just like for me, I'm like I'm just preparing for the worst. Uh, but it seems for the most part things are fairly normal. But I think you're definitely spot on with like once that like desperation level starts to out edge like the rationale side of things, then people will start kind of changing their behavior patterns. I mean, the protests are clear examples of like, oh, people are starting to shift a little bit already with with a protest. So that's at least one sign showing that there's a change in behavior already starting to take place. And it's not even party lines. It's just people are out there. They want to work. They want to support their families and stuff like that. That's
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's being honest, I mean, you care about number one first, and then you care about your family and stuff.
yeah,
Like it's just the way that it works. Like
yeah,
as much as people want to say and post things like, "Oh, I feel so bad about these people that are dying," I'll do whatever. Until that person starts getting impacted by it, and that then they'll start changing. They'll be like, "Oh, I do feel bad for this person, but I need to go and do this still." And you'll totally see a shift.
yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah, I'm
It'll
curious
actually
about
happen.
the fallout of
Go ahead.
unemployment, the fallout of unemployment going further once we do reopen. Because in the restaurant industry, I'm sure some of you guys have come across that. Like, it's almost 100% chance that 30% of restaurants are going to not reopen after this. So I mean,
Why?
that's like one of the biggest job generators for especially first-time job people, or just the economy in a whole. It's a huge percentage of the workforce is working in
that.
services.
They're gonna be, say, all right, you can go out, but you got to wear a mask. Who the fuck's gonna go out and eat at a fucking restaurant getting served by somebody with a fucking mask?
Yeah,
You
Got
fucking
eat in a
kidding
tube.
me? Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks for this delicious meal. I bet it's fucking covered in Corona. You got the fucking mask on. You kidding? Like,
yeah.
like so you don't go out to the restaurant, necessarily. There's some open kitchens and everything, but you're not there staring at them making your food. Because there's this little separation between that little bit of layer between somebody making your food and you sitting there and eating it right then and there. You know what? Somebody giving it to you with a mask on and asking you how everything is kind of fucking ruins that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, I want to talk about that's a good point that you bring up, because to me it's like how the concept of like, oh, the essential jobs are out there, and like, oh, you got the people that are working in the oil industry and the food, groceries and stuff like that. But when you look at the whole picture, right, and what it means to be like human and what it means to be alive and stuff like that, you kind of need everything to feel like a normal person. You know what I mean? And taking away like entertainment, like going out to restaurants and hanging out with friends, like it pays a toll on somebody. Those so to me, like the whole gamut of things is or types of work, like working at a restaurant is like an essential job that's out there, because you know people need that reprieve from being at home, or like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go grab a beer at the bar after work because I had a bad day or I had a good day. It's one of those things, like people need that when you only have one area of escape. It doesn't really give the amount of dimensions that a person really is, because if you think about it, right, people aren't just one thing. They're a bunch of other things. A person could be a chef, but also likes, to read Voltaire, or, likes to skateboard or whatever. Like, there's all these things that encompasses who a person is. And to single out, like, whatever is essential work and not essential work is, to me, is is not really helping define, what people are really about. You know, like there's more than just the survival stuff. There's also the, hey, we're human. We like spending time with each other, and we also like having a good time. So I think those types of things will just start to bother people.
Well, I think the thing it comes down to, it's all like that age-old question of like, how much is something worth? It's whatever you can sell it for. That's exactly how much is worth, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, and whatever is essential, like everything that actually is out there is essential,
yeah,
or it fucking wouldn't be there.
yeah, exactly. No,
Like it's that restaurant, whatever it is, whatever activity, if it's a business or this or that, if it's up and running and people are going to it, like it's essential.
yeah,
It's there. It's serving a purpose. It's doing something. It's providing something, or it wouldn't be there.
yeah. Like needs for just straight survival are needs, but the stuff that people want is also part of this whole survival aspect too. And I think
No, survival and functional society are fucking way different.
yeah,
Like we are not at functional society level right now. Like this is not functional
no,
society
no,
at
definitely not.
all.
So
It's like the exact opposite of fucking functional society. This
yeah,
is
so yeah, so yeah, I had
so. I guess the real question is like, Sophia went out and left. Are you gonna let her back in? Or are you gonna like Clorox her when she shows back up?
oh yeah,
What
yeah,
are you
of
gonna
course.
do?
I was
You're gonna
well,
the courier he's worried. He's gonna fucking have to sanitize her when she shows back up. He was saying before you got on. I'm like, courier, she's going to see her family. He's like, she made a decision, right? She chose wrong. Like, she wanted to go see her family.
hey, no, I totally, I totally get the
Yeah.
whole thing,
What's this bitch right now? Yeah.
No, yeah, like the part that I'm worried about is that she and I are infected, and and then her family gets it. That's the part. I'm not worried about my
Yeah.
immune system. Like for
That's the
me,
thing I'd be worried about too.
like that's her mother was like, "Whoa, what are you afraid of the virus?" I'm like, "I'm not afraid of the virus. I'm like, I'm afraid for you guys. Like I'm a healthy, adult male. Like, I get my nutrition. I have tons of vitamins here. I eat a lot of vegetables. You know, like I'm not worried about I'm not worried about number one. The thing I'm worried about is everybody else.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys something that's kind of what's cool about dining in here. What a lot of people love about this place. Hold on. This might be a good note to kind of sign off to. Hopefully, I can get a good image of this.
Sun's setting right now. I can look outside. I already can tell. Yeah.
Actually, I can't get the colors right though. It's like
it's so bright. It's so bright with the camera.
Yeah, just use
it's too bright.
Hey, Randall, just use the overexposure to create like some cool visual effect there. Oh, his video froze.
Oh no.
He might have to jump back in.
Man, it's a solar flare. You're gonna die.
Yeah. The radiation from the light caused the signal to drop. Yep. The signal dropped off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No. So like last weekend before. Oh, he's back.
I pressed the power button.
Did you?
Hey, you jumped back down pretty quick.
It's too bright, but it blasts all the beautiful colors you want to see in the sunset when it happens.
No, that's cool. You get a little bit of the saturation, the high exposure and stuff with the sun like showing up like red. It looks pretty cool. Honestly, Randall, like right now, this is probably the best like filmography that we've had for for the video series so far, because like, oh, you got this great background, you got the restaurant, so it definitely adds like a little bit of
All right. I just come with straight content. I don't need no props.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to try to get another one in for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, I'm gonna sign off, guys. I'm gonna finish up here and then head home.
Well,
thanks.
Yeah, but before you go, you have to show the crowd, you eating it with like a new spoon and stuff like that. Talk about, you know what I mean? You
no. Use the same spoon. It's fine.
I'm using
use the same spoon. No.
We keep these on top of our line. They're full of spoons, so We can't run the tables. There we go. Ooh, we're gonna taste this. I like a little bit of onion, tomato.
So that
here.
looks just the simmering for a little while. You can already see like it looks different. The color's absorbing into the squash. Looks good.
All right, you got to talk a little. Oh,
Oh,
we
yeah.
did.
Oh, that's good. So what you're looking for, obviously the vegetables are there now. If I was to have a zucchini or squash, they'd still have a little bite left to them, but they're soft. You want to make sure, it's obviously going to be tomatoey. You want to make sure you taste the vegetables in there. You want to make sure that you're tasting the herbs as well, because the herbs really help send it through, especially the basil and oregano more than anything. So yeah, and then kind of like making soups, usually the next day, like after they sit for a whole day is when they really gain a lot of flavor. Same applies to this. So when you reheat it as leftovers, it might even taste better than the first day you made it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now that looks good. If I make it to the grocery store,
man.
I might make that as my side this week.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's nothing crazy. It's just chopping vegetables,
Veggies, yeah. No, good side though.
No, I think I'll make that. I think I'll make that also.
Yeah, and you can use some other vegetables. Anything that's like kind of hardy and would withstand being cooked for a good half hour. And again, it's all pretty basic stuff. You should be able to find these ingredients very common. Like I said, the fennel. I usually always see fennel at grocery stores. I'm never too excited to buy it at grocery stores because it's usually not like the freshest. Because grocery stores aren't selling a lot of it, but even if they look kind of, beat up, they're still good. They're still full of flavor.
The bulbs will be fine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, don't go by the top. Just check the bulb. Like if the bulb's still nice and pretty white and everything, like it's fine.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not as cheap as you think. I was at a random grocery store and I was like, I went to buy some fennel. And I was like, wait, what? I think it was like $4 for one bulb.
$4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen it cheaper at other places. It's just this one place I saw it at. I'm like, what? Come on.
Yeah, fennel's not super cheap. It's one of those. Honestly, I mean, lots of vegetables aren't. You can get them cheaper, but they're not like super cheap. It's disappointing, You want people to be eating better, eating healthier, and everything, and then like fresh vegetables they're kind of fucking pricey.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's the strange thing here.
Cool. Yeah,
that's the strange thing here. The fresh vegetables and fruits are cheaper, and any of the frozen like stored stuff is super expensive. Like carton juice here is definitely like double the price of like what you would buy in the U.S. for the same size.
So I just killed it. It's done. So I think I think that was about 25 minutes after we said it came up to a boil that I killed it here. But yeah, that's it. Ratatouille, Back Eddy style. That's it, man.
Okay, and
Nice.
just one more time, one more shameless plug there, where the Back Eddy is located, and also, when the hours are open and things like that, and when people can order.
Yeah, sure. Actually, hold that thought real quick.
Do you have a sign? What are you bringing? Is this a menu? What is this? He's coming back. I can see the shadow.
So I got the menu for this week. I figured I'd give everyone a little preview. It should be on our website. Should be on our Facebook. The menu should already be up for this week. You can start ordering on Wednesday. Pickup times are Friday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, noon to sold out, or roughly about 6 p.m. It's been our last pickup time. So yeah, Friday 4 to 7, Saturday noon to 6. You can
If
start,
I order this week, if I order and I come all the way down there because it's not close, can you run it out to my car?
what's that?
But if I drive all the way down and I order, will you run it out to my car?
Yeah, of course. Just be like, oh, hey, this is just mention my name. Sal will make
Will
fun
you
of me.
break? All right. Will you break the rules and get in the car? No.
Maybe. Um, so real quick, I'll give you guys a preview. It's already probably up on the website. We're doing brisket this week. We're doing a smoked brisket with maple pecan sweet potatoes and cider braised cabbage.
Ooh, that sounds
doing,
lovely.
Yeah, brisket baby. We got lemon thyme chicken. Um, I imagine we're gonna do the half. It doesn't specify, but I think it's gonna be the half chicken again. So it's gonna be a lemon thyme chicken with potato gratin and hillside mushroom pan gravy. One of our local vendors, Hillside, they do mushrooms, and it's phenomenal. What's cool about this area is there's a lot of farms around here now. There's more and more farms, so it's actually pretty easy to get local produce at really good prices down here.
Westport has a ton of farms. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot.
especially Hillside. These mushrooms are like top notch and a great price, even if you're retailing it as a customer. So after that, we have oven roasted cod with chorizo. That's
Ooh.
with butter beans and kale. So that's kind of
That's
like
a New Bedford fan favorite right there.
Yeah.
that's something that's usually on a regular menu. It's the roasted cod dip. So it's roasted cod with chorizo, kale, beans. So it's not kind of like a piece of cod roasted on top of stew, sort of. It's really good.
It's
It's really
New England meets Portugal. It's fine.
exactly. We're also doing we got grilled swordfish with garlic herb smashed potatoes, asparagus, and green pea pesto. Actually, pea green pesto. Sorry, wrong way. It's pea greens. So those are our entrees. All entrees are $16 each. So we're trying to keep a good price for everybody too. We're not trying to price it like we were going to price it normal
No,
times in life.
that's super cheap, honestly, for those.
Yeah, we're trying to bring
That's
people in.
It's like that's real solid price. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For an
real
entree?
quick,
Yeah.
soups. Soups, we have our clam and corn chowder. That's our house chowder we serve every year throughout the year. We're doing a smoked seafood stew, so there'll be some smoked seafood in that. It's actually pretty interesting. And one of our classics is Macumber turnip bisque. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Macumber turnips. They're actually a local vegetable that was created locally. It's a cross between a turnip and a rutabaga, I believe. If I remember correctly, it was these two brothers went down to an exposition in Philadelphia, like late 1800s, bought some seeds, created their own hybrid. So Macumber turnip, it's like a hyper local vegetable. It's awesome. That's wicked awesome. We're doing a salad. It's called the Eddy salad. It's something we've always had. Mac and cheese. These are sides. Spring vegetable ratatouille, which you saw today. The garlic herb smashed potatoes is a side. Stuffed quahogs, our classic stuffed quahogs we're selling. We're also doing our Back Eddy famous mussels, which is a really old school recipe here. I think it was from the original owner, Chris Lesinger, original chef owner. So that's it's a mussel dish. It has hoisin, coconut milk, some sweet chili, um, cilantro, limes. It's really interesting. It's the hits.
It's like a Thai mussel dish almost.
Yeah, but it's something it's a staple on our recipe for forever. It's really good. The sauce is incredible. And then for desserts, we have we're doing a seasonal fruit crisp. I think it's going to be apples and blackberries, and rum raisin bread pudding. So that's basically the menu for next week. And real quick, So these are our takeout containers we're using. They're actually a pretty good size. We actually packed quite a bit of food in here for everybody.
So that's about one dinner.
Actually, it's actually, you could split everything we're selling as one entree for sure. Definitely shareable.
Nice.
Great. And Cruz, do you have any closing comments as well?
Yeah, the Ratatouille was great. Good stuff. Good camera work on there. I was surprised by the good angles that you were able to get just working with the laptop and stuff.
Yeah, I did a little practice.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's just a simple dish. It reminds me of kind of like a cacciatore almost.
Yeah.
I had an actually made like a nice. I love a nice just chicken cacciatore just because you can heat it up, put it over rice a couple days, and it's just still good every time. But it's actually definitely that's a little bit of a side I'm going to try just to do something a little different. As much as I love my fucking broccoli and sweet potato every week, you know. So with this, and honestly, I actually might be dumping. I might be dump. That might be hearty enough that I can use that as just the side. Only because this whole, isolation and this whole bullshit's not been very good for the dieting and the exercising and such. So
Oh
I
yeah,
need to.
no kidding, right?
I think I need to switch over to a detox of just protein and vegetables. I need to dump everything.
Oh man,
Need to dump
I've
everything
been
else.
buying 2 bags of potato chips every time, and I eat both of them in 2 days.
Yeah, you need to buy 7.
I can't help myself.
No, I completely understand. Just so I can just snack in or like, fuck, I'm gonna order takeout just so somebody shows up and I'm having a conversation with them for a minute just to hang out. So it's just bullshit like that. Yeah, I'm gonna be switching over to like just veggies and protein for a couple weeks. Try and get back on the wagon for a little bit of something. Fuck.
I hear that. All I've been eating is cookies. So, or I eat a lot of
I
cookies.
actually baked cookies at like 1 in the morning last night.
Yeah,
Amber's like,
last
"Make
weekend
me some cookies."
I brought home fucking cookies from. I went and saw the fam for Easter. I brought home some cookies. Cookies didn't even survive the night on Easter night. I brought them home. I ate all the fucking cookies that night, just sitting there for no fucking reason. They didn't even make it past Easter day before I'd already eaten them.
Oh god.
Oh
But
man.
All right,
everybody,
gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, clean up here, and head home and have a nice late. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna have for dinner tonight.
I'm gonna go rummage right now. I have no idea. It's gonna be something garbage. It's not gonna be Ratatouille. It's gonna be something disgusting. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the same. So that concludes Waypoint Cafe. Next week, before we go, Cruz, are you going to be doing the plantains? Because I know I got it set in my mind that we're going to be doing the Ecuadorian style ceviche. So
Okay. Are you doing the ceviche next week, or you want me to do plantains or something next week?
yeah, we'll do the ceviche next week. I think we can stick with
Okay.
the theme with the seafood and stuff like that. So
All right, that's good. Yeah. So you do that next week. The week after, I'll be doing. I'll try and do some tostones and some fried plantains, and then I mean, honestly, I actually have never done them at home, so it's going to be learn as we go together. So it'll be a nice little adventure we can all share. It might be
yeah.
fucking terrible. We'll see.
And you know what the thing is too? Plantains are so freaking good, man. Like, I mean, you and I a lot of times when we're talking about it, it's like, dude, like plantains are freaking amazing. Like,
I love plantains, but these might come out. I haven't made toast. Have you ever made tostones or anything, Randall?
No, we
Like
actually
little
have been
fried
talking
plantains?
about it a lot the last year here. Everyone, we keep bringing it up, but we never execute it. So maybe we'll fuck with that
Yeah.
ourselves
yo,
too.
hey, I hope.
I've never tried it, so I'm gonna try it. I'll try it live in 2 weeks, so we'll see how this goes.
All right.
It'll be a
Yeah,
learning.
there's a few dishes, Randall, that we're gonna be doing, and it's like Ecuadorian style and stuff like that, kind of down the road. Obviously we try to keep like a general schedule as far as what the foods that we're going to be preparing and things like that. But I think there's this one dish that's made with verde or plantains that uses a casserole, and they use it in different dishes. But it's like one of my favorite dishes here. That's like it's super flavorful, but it's not like overboard flavor. But you can apply it to a lot of different things, whether it's shrimp, fish, um, or even by itself. I like eating it by itself, but it's super good, and it's not too difficult to make. And I was asking Sophia if she could make it in the next videos. So the first one is ceviche. She wants to do the shrimp and stuff, so she's been doing a little bit of research on that. And it's quite the way they make it here in Ecuador is a little bit different, but I think it'd be cool just to get your feedback, or maybe even try to cook some of this stuff along the same time. And keep in mind too, she doesn't speak English, so as she's talking, I'm going to be doing my best to translate a lot of this stuff.
Oh, that's sweet.
This is good. Yeah, tune in next week. This is going to go awesome.
Oh, real quick, I just want to mention, Cruz, I think you might like this. One of my favorite things to go with plantains is barbecue sauce.
Barbecue
Really?
sauce.
Yeah. So you guys all know no probs, right? No problemos.
Yeah, of course.
So they have plantains. I forget. I don't even know. I think they just have it. I don't even think it's in any of their like menu items. But basically, what you do, you get a barbecue. So it's like barbecue chicken burrito, and you sub out the chicken for plantains. And like the plantains with barbecue sauce, dude, for some reason it just worked so well.
All right.
And just like standard barbecue sauce, just regular like Sweet Baby Ray's or something like that.
Yeah, nothing. Yep. Interesting.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. You guys stay safe, have fun.
Likewise.
Right. Pleasure. Guys, be good. I'll talk to you. I'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Thank you guys very much. And tune in next week.
Boom.
Yeah, boom.
Later.
Later.